Hey guys, it's PlazmaScream, and this week we're going to talk about one of the coolest characters in the game and one of my personal favorites, that being the Merciless. And here, I believe, is the best offense team to use the Merciless on for multiplayer. So first, we have Xander King back row, Claw Force, Let's Go Helmet, and Raise Go Scimitar. Regime the Flash, Astral Harness, and Full Throw Gears. And we have him on this team mainly for his passive, which is going to be very important for the Merciless. And lastly, of course, we have Merciless himself with the Massive Death Cart, Tainted Totem, and Demon Blade. That way he can tag in, get 2 bars, and have a guaranteed crit special 2. And you will see with this passive here that it says he needs 7 hits in order to get an unblockable special. But what you are going to see in his matches is that is going to happen a lot faster and a lot easier than you think. Let me show you. Now, pay attention to what the Merciless does right as he tags in, and watch what happens after. Okay, ready? Tag in, heavy combo, right away, passive activated, and now I get a full unblockable special 2. He might survive this. Nope, he won't. Oh, come on, dude, really? Let's try and make that, there we go. Just stall time. And she's done for. Oh, I missed. Don't worry. There we go. Anyway, what you saw at the start of that fight was I tagged in the Merciless, and I went for a heavy combo right away. And what that did is it immediately activated his passive. The reason that happened is because I'm using the Massive Death Cart. And when you go for the basic attacks right as you tag in with Massive Death Cart, it will consider the tag in bullets that fire out right here as part of his basic attacks, and therefore it will be as if you did more basics than normal, and it actually ends up activating his passive much faster. Oh, if you don't block, you're dead. Gone. Easy. So that is a very, very neat trick you can do to activate his passive a lot easier, because you do not actually have to do 7 whole hits. A lot of times you only need to do like 3, as long as you time your basic attacks. Hi, yes, I see you. Okay, there we go. Heavy combo. There it is. Boom. And if he doesn't block, he's dead. Boom, 1 shot. Okay, so I'm going to tag in back roll just in case. Okay, it should be shattered. Should be. It was. Good. That is why we have back roll. Now, a cool thing about Merciless is his special 2. The first hit, it's going to hit for about like 30, 40k, right? Not that strong. The second hit, however, very powerful. It's going to do like 114k. If the opponent has Astral Harness and pretty high health, you can actually do the first hit of the special 2, comboed into the second hit, and that will actually bypass the health threshold of Astral Harness and one-shot them without triggering. I'm going to try and showcase it here. Oh, I did too much damage. That's fine. That's fine, because we have back roll just in case here. Alright, so I should go to tag out right after here, and hopefully I shatter it. If they don't have enough health, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. Nothing you can really do about that. But That's alright. For moments like that, we do have back roll to still be able to shatter the Astro. And we can see how much health that Superman had in just a second. Let's see, just Elite 7. I don't know, maybe I could have done it. I think if I timed that better, and I went for the Special 2 after the barrier went down, maybe that could have made the second hit get to KO. Or if he had just a little bit more health, maybe I could have KO'd with that fourth hit. Okay, so anyway, that's a Lex, not Superman. He's actually going to be immune to my unblockable, but it's okay. I'm still going to hit like a truck. Oh, be careful here. Just use my back roll. And we just sit here and wait. Okay, I should be able to knock her out now. Okay, maybe not. Hawk rolls are kind of weird. They get pushed a little further back than normal by the Master Death Cart. Okay, I'm going to tag up here. You shouldn't have like totem or anything. Just be careful. Oh, he does. Okay, that's fine. We just stall time. And then go back into Merciless. And this should knock him out. Alright, very good. Alright, pretty easy. I think that was all the matches, right? He didn't get KO'd one time. And he just beat the crap out of everybody in that ladder. Alright, pretty good. So, key thing to remember when using the Merciless is as soon as you tag him in, go for that heavy combo. And if you have a maxed out passive, like I do, 5 out of 5, all the upgrades, it will immediately activate his passive, and you will get the next special you do, special 1 or special 2, unblockable. There are some times when this actually will not happen, kind of due to like your timing or maybe a little bit of lag in the match. It could delay the bases to come out a little slower than normal. In that case, all you need to do is to do one more heavy swipe as they're like on the ground getting back up. You won't do damage, but it will count as you doing a basic attack, and therefore it'll give you that one last basic needed to activate a passive. And then you do a special 2, and if they're blocking, it breaks it, and then next special 2 hits, just destroys them, as you saw. And the cool thing about, Merciless as well is he has more things with his passive. You got the armor. The armor is actually really cool. It's really sick. It gives you free health every time you tag anybody on the Merciless team. This is very nice for his lower stat teammates who do not have as much health as he has, especially when you're using a gear like Lescope Helmet. With armor plus Lescope Helmet, my back row, even though she has very low health, becomes very tanky, and it's quite difficult to do a lot of damage to her. And also you have the fact that back row has a tagging passive of her own, so when she tags in, she gains armor, but she also does damage to the opponent, so she's like healing and also hurting the opponent. And actually gets even more damage when you add in Claw Force, because it gives a damage on tagging as well, so then you get even more. And then Regime Flash is just here so you get faster basic attacks from Merciless. I think he's very, very important on a Merciless team. And Batgirl, another reason why she was chosen is because she has a special 1 that can apply up to 3 gear effects. So you saw in some of those matches where either I wasn't confident that I was going to be able to bypass the health threshold, because either they had too much health, or maybe I just didn't want to try my luck. I have back rolls still to have a very consistent way of shattering the opponent's Astro. I can just tag her in, use special 1, and I have bar power ready to go right away. I can just use it and get rid of that Astro, then go back into Merciless and easily finish them off from there. And you saw I did that a couple times in those matches. I think, honestly, with the Merciless, you might actually benefit from using him on a pretty higher team power team. This one seems to be between 105k and 109k. I think you may actually want a team between 109 and 120k, possibly like around 120k or a little bit higher, which is when you start getting 5,000 battle rating on the first match of an epic ladder. That way, and I know this is weird, but that way the opponents will actually have more health, and thus, if they happen to have an Astro Harness, the first hit of a special 2 will not trigger the Astro barrier up to, the 50% barrier. It won't do so much damage that it puts them at 50% to trigger the barrier. And then the second hit will blast them and just knock them out without triggering any more barriers. So I think he actually benefits from having a higher team power team with more stats on it. This one's got much less. It's just between 105 and 109k, like I said. To get 109k, if you wanted to use this team, I think all you have to do is just like maybe max HP augment Flash, which I have not done, and maybe like promote him once. I probably can see that happening. That would probably get him to 109k. But I think this is as good as it gets in terms of a Merciless offense team. I think also you could, if you wanted to, use League of Assassin Knives on Merciless. His special one is pretty unique in that it has 2 minigames and it gains a damage increase for both of the minigames. If you remember when I talked about Arrow Green Arrow, he has a special 2 that has 2 minigames, and the second and third hits gain the damage increase from both of the minigames. That's the same thing for the Merciless and his the second hit of his special 1. So that second hit actually hits pretty decently hard, and in total you do like over 120,000 damage with Flow Knives, League of Assassin Knives. It does have a meter burn on it on the first minigame, which I typically do not like. However, there are some pretty nice things about it. Number 1, the damage, like I just mentioned. Number 2, it is fully ranged. You can hit it no matter how far away the opponent is. Both of the hits, the first and second. So it doesn't matter how far away they are, they will get hit by both hits. And you also can stall the minigame on the second hit, so that if you want to tag out right after you use it, you can. So let's say you do a special 1, and you predict someone scary is going to tag in after. Like Astro Totem Death Guard, or maybe some kind of like scary metal character like Ninja Catwoman, for example. You can stall the minigame to make it so after it's done you can tag out if you need to. So that's pretty nice, because a lot of special ones are pretty fast, because either they don't have many hits or have pretty fast animation, or both. So being able to get out of dodge in situations like that is really nice. So that's Merciless for offense. Now we can, of course, talk about him on defense, because he is a metal character, and metal characters are extremely good on defense. They are the meta. They are the characters you want to use on the best of the best defense teams. So here we have his, in my opinion, best team. So you definitely want to have Shazam, because Shazam's on the best defense teams. And then I believe his, second best teammate is Noof 2 Black Adam. And for this team, I have tried 2 gear combinations with him. And my favorites are this right here, Mass Death Guard, Tainted Totem, and Astro Harness. A lot of times he will either do a special 2 and then just wreak havoc, easily getting KOs. And what's another cool thing with the synergy within Black Adam is Black Adam, his lightning strike with his passive, when it's maxed out, it will strike the opponents with lightning when they tag in. And notably, after a KO, if the Merciless is in the middle of a special 2, and the opponent tags in the middle of the special, they will be unable to block immediately as they tag in, and they'll get caught off guard and then get blasted by the remaining hits of the special 2, and Merciless can potentially get 2 KOs with 1 special 2, and the opponent not being able to do anything about it, not able to defend themselves or block at all. And you can use this on offense too, and Merciless actually does like Black Adam a lot, Metal Black Adam, because number 1, he gives extra dark power generation, so he gets more dark power specials. It gets charged up faster. And number 2, the first hit after the 4th hit is done with special 2. Let's say you get a KO with special 2, and then you get a KO with the final hit, and then the next opponent tags in, and then they get struck by lightning. That first hit actually comes out before they get struck by lightning, which means that you will guaranteed be able to land that first hit unblocked. And then, of course, as you know, the second hit, being very powerful, will blast them. Them not being able to block, they're definitely going to get KO'd by it. So, and then the next opponent tags in, gets struck again by lightning if there's anybody left on the team. And then the last hit, which is also very powerful, the second and fourth very, very strong. The last hit, blast them, and then usually match is over. So that's another good combo you could use on offense is Merciless plus Black Adam. But it is extremely good on defense as well. And you actually get a very, very fast dart power generation when you have an evolved Black Adam, which middle characters definitely appreciate. As for the gears of the teammates, definitely ninja helmets, and then Killer Croc painting card evolved. What you might not know is Noof 2 Black Adam is actually because he's Noof 52 character, he does get a damage reduction for himself when paired alongside Shazam, which means he's a lot tankier. His points deal less damage to them, and even more if he has his orbs on tagging or when he uses Dark Power Special. That gives him even more damage reduction. So with his very high health, and also paired alongside these gears and Noof to Shazam, he can become very, very tanky. And with his orbs critting, and they will guarantee crit because if you so much as have just 10% crit chance on defense, everything they do will crit except super moves because they can't crit. So that will make his orbs guarantee crit. So when anybody's tagged in against him and he has orbs, they're going to hurt like hell. And they can't even do anything about it unless they use specials on him, which if they do, will not do much damage because he will be so tanky. Another gear you could use alongside this setup is Brandis Ninjato over Gingo Soda if you were worried about AoE setups. But that is a very good setup right there. As for Shazam, pretty typical. A good setup for him is 2 out of the 4th wheel gears. So chest plate, helmet, and then usually like Ibis Stick is a good gear. That last one. That way he does he's a little bit less passive when he's tagged in. Because if they block a special one, it won't do much damage to them, especially if they have pretty strong defense themselves. Like damage reduction gears, block gears. But if he has Ibis Stick, he can stack DOT on them so that they cannot they can't make Shazam be passive, and he's going to be very annoying with lots of DOT stacked up, especially because 4th World Helmet and Ibis Stick will give him a lot of power generation, and he gets even more when his passive turns on, and he comes back later on in the match. He gets more power generation then too, as you see here, plus power gen. And that will stack up to be quite a lot of power generation, which means a lot of special ones, which means a lot of DOT. So this team I actually made many years ago on an order count, and it was very successful. It was very, very good. It's one of my favorite defense teams I've ever made. Another way you could use Merciless on defense is you just swap these here. And then you go here with Shazam. And then here, you give him Mass Death card instead. And then you keep the gears on Black Adam. And this is the team I've been using this week. It's been doing pretty well. And then you give Ninjato to Merciless. And then there you go. You got the best gears possible for Shazam, the best gears possible for Black Adam, and a very good setup for Merciless as well. This will allow him to, many times, by the time he tags in, again, do either a special 2 or a super move. And the cool thing about super moves on metal characters is, on defense, metal characters have much higher stats, damage and health. It is due to some kind of interaction with the alliance credits for metal characters, specifically on defense, so they get way higher stats than normal from the buffs. So as a result, his specials are going to hit way harder than normal, and definitely his super move will as well. It can become so lethal that even if you get 49% on a little mini game that reduces the damage, you can still get KO'd if you don't have enough health. So that can make a metal character's super move one of the most dangerous attacks in the game. And if Merciless gets enough AoE dealt to him, he can gain 3 bars of power or 2, and then tag in, get 1 more from Totem, then get 3, and just destroy some poor soul with his very, very powerful super move. Another setup I've used with Merciless is this right here. I've used him alongside Damage and Nightwing, and I believe I did something like this. I did Ninja Helmets, Ninjato, and then Totem. This is a very good setup for Nightwing. Makes him very tanky while also being a carry. And then same gears with Shazam, no change. And then Merciless. And here you can get a little creative. There are some things that are pretty good on him. But you always want to have Astro on Merciless, in my opinion, because if you protect Merciless, he will stay in the fight longer. And one thing you need to remember is if Merciless gets KO'd, all the armor that he has put on his teammates will go away. So you need to protect your Merciless. Don't get him killed. Make him very tanky and hard to take out, or at least give him Astro Harness to make it take longer for the opponent to remove him from the fight. So I think you always want to have Astro Harness on him on defense teams. Very important. But other things you could use here, you could do Let's Go Helmets. That's very good for him because if he's blocking specials with Astro Harness and Let's Go Helmets and has very high health on defense, he'll be very tanky, which means he's not going to take much damage. He's going to stay in the fight longer. This also will make his special attacks do more damage because it does give a crit boost right here, 50% crit boost. It'll give DOT as well, so he's not passive, and that 6% will actually be 18% per special because he will be guaranteed crit on all attacks, including DOT. So just one special one, even if it's blocked, will do 18% DOT damage, provided they stay tagged in for the whole duration. Other things you could do here, you have Necron Scythe. If he happens to get a KO, then he gets a Resurrection. If he gets a Resurrection, he has more health, and he's harder to kill because, what would normally might have KO'd him didn't because he has, a Resurrection to keep him alive. And also you get the Astro Necron Scythe combination, which is one of the nastiest gear combos in the game. Once he gets low health and he's in that last Astro Harness range, he's got a barrier up to protect him, and he's able to do basic attacks on the opponent. And if he lands them unblocked, he's going to get life drain, but also power steal. This could potentially get him 2 bars or 3 bars, and then he's just a monster at that point. And basically someone very well might get KO'd, which will then trigger his Necron Scythe effect to give a free resurrection, if that occurs. So that's a really nasty combo right there. You could do OP Pill for him to increase the damage of his basic attacks. He does have a 5-hit light combo, where it goes 1, 2, 3, and then the combo enters 2 hits. So that's pretty strong. And because he is a metal character, he has very high damage, which means very high damage on his basic attacks, which then further gets increased with OP Pill with its basic damage increase, and also Let's Go Helmets with its crit boost. So he could actually get pretty dangerous basic attacks with this setup. And he's also healing himself too, so he's very tanky when he's blocking specials, and then he's also healing himself, which means any damage he does take, he's healing it back. So he's even harder to KO with that setup there. And then you can also use Quake Engine. This does 2 things here. Number 1, it makes his Let's Go Helmet DOT last longer, or potentially re-trigger onto somebody else if they tag out when they're burning. So in total, just one special one will actually do up to 36% in someone's health. So it'll do 18% at most from being guaranteed crit on every single tick, and then it'll re-trigger, and that could do up to 36%. And this will also have a nice little synergy with damage of Nightwing. When Nightwing is put on the team, anybody on the team, when they tag in, you will power drain the opponent. When he's evolved, you power drain quite a lot of power. I mean, it's like a bar and a half of somebody's total power. So by that point, they have less power. Then you get a damage increase by them having less than a bar of power right here. Specials and DOT do 50% more damage against an enemy with less than 1 bar. So that by that point increases the damage even further of Merciless specials. So that can make his special here very hard. And notably also, if he is using Astro Harness plus Quick Engine, and he does a very powerful special 1 and special 2 when it's unblocked, the electricity DOT from Astro Harness will actually hurt quite a lot as well. And Merciless actually has one of the strongest special 2s in the game. It's like top 10 in damage. I'm not even kidding. So if he lands an unblocked special 2 with his high as hell damage on defense and max crit, he is going to hurt a lot with that DOT, that electricity DOT, because the damage is based on the damage of the special attack that he just did. So if he's hurting really bad with those specials, the DOT is going to hurt bad as well. And it can potentially re-trigger onto that same opponent to do even more damage, or onto the next opponent. That's a cool combo right there. And lastly, probably like either this for even more DOT, and more damage on the specials, or you could do like Soul Taker Sword. I think could be good too. That way he gets unblockable chance on his basic attacks, and as you already know, if he's getting um, basic attacks landed on the opponent, he's going to potentially activate his passive. So this could give him a higher chance to land unblockable basics, and if he gets a bunch of them, then he gets a passive activated. And if he so much as lands a crit special 1 unblocked with his max crit augments and super high damage, even just that special 1 will KO the opponent. Because they might try to block it, but the first hit will break the block from him having the unblockable special, and then the second hit will land unblocked, and it will crit guaranteed, and it can knock them out. And it will do a lot of damage, because then you get a damage increase from the Let's Go damage from crit boost. And then you get a damage drain, which means 15% of their damage stat goes to you, so then he gets even stronger. And if by chance he does a special 2, he's got a 50% chance to life drain, so then he's healing from Soul Taker Sword as well. So that's a lot of really good effects from Soul Taker Sword here. You get healing from special 2s, unblockable basics, which is synergy with his passive, and he has a damage drain, so he gets stronger if he gets KOs. And with Astro Harness up, he's got free reign to land unblockable basics, and the opponent can't stop him, because unless they have Astro Harness up as well, they may not be able to defend themselves if he's getting block breaks. So that is a really, really, really nasty setup right there. Is there anybody else I think could be good with them? I think potentially Batman Laughs could have synergy with Merciless. It's just a little difficult to build a team like that because both of them really want to have Astro Harness. I think another good setup you could do is what's my gold characters? All right, here we go. If you had Flashpoint Aquaman, and you just do the same build earlier from Shazam, Merciless, Black Adam, except you just use those same gears on Aquaman instead. Because although Merciless, although Black Adam has a lot of health, he's not going to be invincible versus specials quite as fast as Flashpoint Aquaman, because Aquaman has that water shield, which gives a lot of damage reduction. So something like this, or alternatively like this, would make Flashpoint Aquaman very hard to take damage. And also he's gaining more health, and it's pretty optimal to have Flashpoint Aquaman lower promoted for defense and offense. So, Elite 4, he only has 53k health, but he gets more with Ninja Helmet, and if he's using Ninjato, more than 2. But he really appreciates having the Merciless, because then he gets even more health on top of that. He gets 15% on every time he tags in. And if the opponent isn't doing very much damage to him, Flashpoint Aquaman very well could stack a lot of armor up to the point where he just has like so much health, maybe even like, close to double his listed amount here, 53k, because of all the stacks of armor he gets. And if you didn't know, if you keep tagging in and out enough times and Merciless stays alive, you could actually fill up your entire health bar with armor. That could very well be a reality for one of your opponents if you're using this setup here, because it is very difficult to get damage on Flashpoint Aquaman if you're not using like very strong DOT or using Claw Force. So he can be very, very, very tanky, and made even worse if he's getting armor too. So I think that could be very, very good. And then of course you just run, Death Card Totem at that point. But yeah, that is about all I can tell you about the Merciless and this awesome character, one of my absolute favorites. I hope you guys learned a lot, and definitely when you get the Merciless from your metal packs and your Phantom Zone drops, do not sell him. And don't think that this is a bad pull when you receive him. Don't feel bad, because as you've seen today and as you've heard today, this is actually an amazing character. It just takes a while to really get him going, but honestly, you can say that about a lot of characters, to make a character realize their potential, they gotta have the right gears, they gotta have the augments, the damage augments, the crits augments, all that stuff, the promotions, when the grand scheme of things, it can take a while to really get any character online and then really, be playing at their best. So, just keep that in mind, But don't sell him, and when you receive him, feel good. feel proud, feel happy about it, like I did. This is literally a metal character I'm happy to receive every time. And actually, I've received them so many times that if I get one more Merciless, I can, if I want to, promote him to Elite 7. And I've never, at any point, had a metal character able to be Elite 7. Not even on my old account. So, huge accomplishment if I get one more. I'm very excited for that. And you should be too whenever you receive Merciless. It's a metal character. Like I told you earlier, all metal characters are good. All of them have their uses. All of them are good for something. Whether it's offense, defense, whether it's like a support character, they're all good for something somewhere. Every single one of them. They're all viable. They're all great characters. Every single one of them. Never forget that. That said, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you very much. I hope you guys learned lots of really cool stuff today, and I will talk to y'all later. Thank you.